Hello and welcome back to another Destination Modified video. Today, again, you join me in the garage. Unfortunately, it is snowing outside, so the original plan was to take this out and get some footage with the gimbal with the new airlift. However, that is not going to be the case. However cool the pictures and videos would look with the snow and stuff, I do not fancy risking a rear wheel drive, basically BMW out in the snow. It is not going to end well, so we'll give that a big miss. So what we're going to cover today is a question that I'm getting asked quite often with this car, is why I replaced my OG 2017 BMW M2 with this 2021 Toyota Supra. So let's get in it. So the first reason that I sold my 2017 BMW M2 for this Supra was mainly, if you've watched the channel or know me in person, I am a big fan of Jap cars, and I know already that this is not Japanese, it's basically 99% BMW. However, the actual styling of the car is Japanese, made by Toyota. So in personal preference, it just looks a better car than a BM. Especially the M2, and as much as I like the styling of an M2, it just doesn't grab your attention as much as a Supra, in my opinion. I did look at M2 comps. I think the orange M2 comps are insane, they look so nice. However, I don't think they just don't do it as much as this particular Supra does for me. As well as that, there is like a massive aftermarket scene for the Supra, and I wouldn't say there is as much that you can do with an M2. You've got like the Street Hunter wide body for these cars, you got a bunch of different wide bodies, Liberty Walk, stuff like that, that just transform these cars. There's a lot more that I say you can do with these cars compared to an M2. Like even this wing, for example, I don't even know what this is from, who makes it, I have no idea. However, this will be going and will be getting replaced with a Street Hunter style wing, which is full carbon. I've actually got it here. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but full carbon, big wing for the rear. So just stuff like that is probably the reason I went for this car, because just overall styling wise, I think it looks better than an M2. So reason two, basically, is the budget. So if your budget allows, I think the Supra is worth buying. However, there is a massive budget difference between an OG M2 and a Supra. So I sold my M2 for 26 grand when I traded in against this car, which was 14 grand of a difference, because this cost me 40k. So do I think this is a 14 grand better car? Absolutely not. However, if your budget allows and you prefer the Supra, then why not? The M2 is basically the same car, I would say. It's got a different engine. This has obviously got the B58, the OG M2's got the N55. However, they're both 3 litres, they're both quick, and they're both easily tunable. However, this exact Supra is a bit of a hassle for tuning, mainly because it's a 2021, so between 2019 and 2020 you might have got the old school ECU, which was unlocked. However, these are locked, so you actually have to send them away to a company in Finland, I think, that unlocks them. Or you've got options like GB4, which this car has, so there's kind of workarounds. However, the M2's easily tunable. Same with the comp, you're going to get a lot more out of a comp than you are an OG M2. However, like the Supra, there's a massive price difference between an OG M2 and a comp. So just things to keep in mind. If you can't afford a comp or a Supra, 100% go for an M2. I don't think there's anything in that same ballpark cash wise that compares to an M2. That's kind of why I went for one. So yeah, I think if you don't have the budget, then 100% go with an M2. If you do have the budget, go with a Supra, scrap the comp. So the third and final thing is basically with a BMW like an M2, M3, unless you know what you're looking for and you're into cars, you have no idea what you're looking at. However, with a Supra, I think it gets a lot more attention just from regular public that don't really know much about cars. I barely got a second look in when I had my M2, however this grabs attention like nothing else. It's kind of similar to the S15 actually, you always get compliments on it. M2 didn't hear a thing. So I think in that regard, the Supra wins by a mile, because when you're driving a BM, unless it's modified and you've done a few bits to it and kind of made it look a bit different, it just looks like a regular BM, especially a 5 Series, like an M5. I think they do look very similar to a normal 5 Series, and I'm into cars, but I can't really tell the difference, apart from bigger brakes. It's the same with a 1 Series as well, like 140i's and stuff like that. It's hard to tell the difference between that and even like a 135 or a 120D. Don't know, but yeah, it's a bit more difficult to tell the differences between BMs rather than a Supra. Even though you get the 2 litre now, a 2 litre Supra instead of the 3 litre, so you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference between them two. So, but you barely ever see Supras anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so that's probably the final reason. But overall, just to summarise, if you've got the budget, 100% go for a Supra, or an M2 comp. I personally went Supra, just because I think they look better and I prefer the Japanese styling, etc. However, if you do not have the budget, or you're maxed out like at your budget, I would say the M2, OG M2 or LCI, much better value for money. I don't think there's any other cars on the market that are around that price range that even compare to the M2, or a BMW M4 or something like that. Everything else I wouldn't even put in a consideration for. It's either you go for like an M2 around 25 to 30k, or you go for something over 40, which is it's a steep jump. So yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it kind of clears a bit up of why I purchased this car, and hopefully we have that spoiler installed soon. So we're waiting on our couple of bits to arrive. It didn't come with hardware, which it was supposed to. Not going to name drop the company, but they've been useless. So yeah, we'll get that sorted out, get it installed, and then hopefully before then we'll have that gimbal footage that we'll upload onto the channel as well. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like on this video and leave a comment if you want, and I'll get back to you. But most of all, stay jolly.